realise this may not be the best day to talk about public transport. So how many people had a challenging trip this morning? Ooh. So I guess by evidence you are here, you got here. So it's a special welcome. I want to take you away from today's trip and imagine you are in New York City. Think of the Empire State Building. Think of those iconic yellow taxi cabs. Sex in the City. However, most New Yorkers do not take the cabs. They take the bus. And New York buses are notorious for being expensive, not as expensive as the cabs, but expensive still, and slow. Across most of Manhattan, you can walk faster than the bus. Now, you may know that New York City has a new mayor, Zohran Mamdani. At age 34, he's the youngest mayor for more than 100 years. He's also the first Muslim, the first Ugandan, the first Asian. He's charismatic, and actually he's quite hot. But that's enough to take your mind off the buses. But he campaigned very cleverly on 3 slogans. And I want to focus on just one of the slogans, which was, make buses fast and free. Make buses fast and free. And by the end of the campaign, he could walk into a room and say, make buses fast and free. That surely is an impossible dream. How could public transport be free? Well, it's not impossible. And around the world, it's happening right now. In Brazil, there are 130 cities that have free public transport. In capitalist USA, Albuquerque has free buses. In France, Montpellier and many other cities have free public transport. The whole of Luxembourg has free public transport. Admittedly, it's a very small country, but it can be done. Why might it be a good idea to have free public transport? Well, the first, paradoxically, is for car drivers. In Pakistan, in its biggest state, Punjab, with 125 million people, they made public transport free for a month this year as petrol prices rose and petrol was in short supply because of the war on Iran. It can be done. Second, it can be faster. If the bus driver isn't checking your fare, you can get on and off at any door, which means the buses arrive at the stop and leave faster. You also reduce congestion. What happened in Montpellier and in Punjab was people moved from their cars onto the buses and reduced congestion. But for me, the compelling reason for making public transport free is it's fairer. Now, buses are usually the cheapest form of transport. And if you're well off, it's a trivial amount. You don't even think about it. But if you're on a low wage or low pension, it adds up during the week. Now, you could do a means-tested free bus if you're on a low income. But actually that involves all sorts of bureaucracy and checking, cliff edges, and people missing out because they don't want to apply. Fares that are free leave the money in your pocket, and automatically the people on the lowest incomes benefit the most. They're the people who can't work at home. They have to travel. They travel the longest distances by bus because they're pushed out of the city centre by high rents. So automatically you give the people who need it most money back in their pocket, and the rich, you just tax them a bit and they won't notice. So it's possible, it's been done, but there is a big question. How do you pay for it? How do you pay for buses that will be free? Now, the answer varies around the world. But first, is it hard to do? Now, in Albuquerque, it turns out that only 6% of their budget was actually coming from fares. Most of the costs were the fixed costs of having drivers, buses, and everything, the infrastructure. So the city realised that if it was only getting 6% of the total cost from fares, well, why didn't they just cover it? In London, it's actually very different. Our fares cover 60% of the running costs every year. And there's a reason for that. London is the only major city in the world that does not get a subsidy towards its transport system from the government. And that's why there's so much money that would need to be got to replace that revenue. The buses won't run for free so far as the city is concerned. But around the world, all sorts of ideas have been put forward and put into practice to actually make it work. So one that's happening in France is it's a small payroll tax. And the employers benefit by getting their workers able to travel and get to work. Sometimes it's done through a wealth tax. It can be done by taxing the car drivers a little bit. And they'll benefit because there's less congestion, and if they go on the bus, it'll be free. Now, there's a lot of work to do. We know it can be done, and it's time to start campaigning. It's time to make buses fast and free. It's time to make buses fairer and faster. If you're interested, there's a campaign in London called Fare Free London. Look it up. Enjoy. Thank you.